Welcome to Soni Irabor Live. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Well, I have a very interesting topic today, and I think it's interesting because of the person involved, because of the subject matter, and the fact that we haven't heard of the phrase or the acronym FESTAC for a very long time. Well, some of us, because in actual fact, it's actually been on, and I didn't know that. But I have a guest who is based right now in Kenya, but he's Nigerian, proudly Nigerian, and he's going to share with me his thoughts and reasons behind the resurgence, the revival of the term FESTAC. Then we'll now add Africa. What I remember of FESTAC is the Festival of Arts and Culture. But this time, from the engineer Yinka Abioye, is added Africa to it. I think it was always Africa, actually. But anyway, he will enlighten us more. And so, Mr. Yinka Ekbelesa, you are welcome. How are you?
Very well. I've been looking at you guys for the last 5 minutes.
I know. Good, but you heard my introduction, right? You did hear
what?
You heard my introduction, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I talked about you, and
your voice just came in now for the first time.
Oh, thank
and
goodness.
we have one person online.
Okay, yes. Now the thing is, what I really wanted to ask you, and what I did ask at the point of entry, was that FESTAC. Well, I introduced that you revived it, as it were, and that I would like you to now tell us the current FESTAC Africa, what it entails and what it's all about, because apparently you've been doing it for some time now. Please keep up to steam.
How many minutes do I have?
You have the whole 1 hour, but it's a conversation, so we'll be talking and we will be bantering, yes. And people will phone in. There's a Grace Mumo that has joined now. More people are joining. Go ahead, please. Yeah. So what about FESTAC? Tell us, Yinka.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Irabor, for having me on your show. I think you cannot talk about FESTAC of today without talking about where FESTAC came from yesterday.
Good.
And what FESTAC symbolizes is the Pan-African movement, awareness of who we are as people, not only on the continent, but globally. As you know, the first FESTAC actually happened in Dakar, Senegal.
Yes.
As far back as 1966, by the then Leopold Sédar Senghor, the leader of Senegal back then.
Yes.
The festival was done in April of 1966 for a month. Because it's French, it was labeled negritude. Festival supposed to happen again afterwards in Nigeria. Unfortunately, Nigeria went into civil war in 1967. I must add, unnecessary civil war that lasted for 3 to 4 years. And so the second one was not able to happen 11 years later.
Wow.
The interesting thing about 1977 was actually very much needed, as you know, with the African-American struggle of the late 60s and with the African countries having new leadership in the early 70s and frequent coup d'etat, the changes of guard.
Yes.
Which meant that in some cases, some of those changes actually happened by the same people that gave us the freedom. So all of that just meant we were not together as one. Worse yet, you had the Rhodesia issues back then, and then you had the issues of South Africa.
True.
Now, on top of that, you had the Soweto 76. And if I should add, You had the coup in Nigeria in 1975. So Chief Obasanjo, being the leader of the country back then, as a Pan-Africanist, felt needed to make sure we have brought the flat platform back into celebrating who we are, so that we can instill pride in our people, and from there we can get to know one another and come back as people and take the continent forward. 77 was huge.
Yes.
You've spoken about 77 before.
Yes.
In your own remembrance of what happened in 77. In
fact, there were 15,000 blacks.
Yes, there was about 15 to 16,000 participants, not even spectators.
Yes, participants.
At a time when there were no internet, there were none of these big things of what we have today. From even over maybe 60 countries where people came from. Actually, there was almost 70. So, and at that time, if you remember, Africa didn't have 50 countries.
No.
Which also meant that almost 1/3 of the nations that came were not from Africa. So it was a huge celebration. If you would dig on the Google of 77, you would see your Eddie Grant, your Jimmy Cliff, your Stevie Wonder. It was just an energy to bring all of us together. I think the impression that 77 left on people like myself, just as something that carried on in our lives. The interesting thing is, I'm here to meet one person that remembers 77. When you mention 77, their personality just totally changes. Their pupils would dilate. They will start fidgeting. They will start moving because it meant something. Unfortunately, the festival basically died for 45 years. And we took it upon ourselves to say, one of the biggest things that is important on our continent is the need for all of us to travel within the continent so we can know one another better. And by knowing one another better, we can trade. As an ex-corporate guy for me, and I've been fortunate to travel the continent extensively and worked around the continent. As we sit back and we say inter-Africa trade is at 15% for the last 3 decades or more. Why is that so? Yes, we're all doing mining, we're doing agriculture, we're doing this and that. But the reason why we were not able to go beyond the 15% is because we have people between us that are still sharing the margin.
Exactly.
So to me, it is important that we first of all remove the pessimism and the prejudice between all of us, or the created prejudice amongst us that we have ignorantly kept between us. And so it was critical that we mix.
Yes.
By mixing, we get to know one another better and we would trade. So we sat back, myself and my team, and said, what could we do to impact Africa and make Africa a better place? We started doing bilateral events, but I'm skipping now because of time.
Go on.
On COVID happening in 2019, 2020, we sat down and we said, FESTAC is a platform we needed to revive, and revive it to do exactly that. So what is FESTAC of today? FESTAC of today is leaning on our fathers of 1966 and 1977.
Okay.
And saying what are things that we could add to what they did to bring better value to the program. Number one, consistency. Okay. In 66, it was in April. In 77, it was in January. To promote Pan-Africanism, May is Africa Month. May 25th is Africa Day. It is critical to let our children understand and appreciate the month, Africa Day. That's number one. Number two, travel and tourism. We'd all sit back today, we're very quick to say, well, this is not working, that is not working. We still haven't optimized what we could do with travel and tourism in our countries and on our continent. So, but not only that, as people, we are quick to pack our bags and go out of the continent. And we want to use FESTAC as a platform to encourage people to travel within the continent. The continent is beautiful. I mean, I like to always brag to people that one of the places where I have the best fish in my life was in Mali.
Mali.
Okay? And Mali is landlocked.
Yes.
Right? So if you don't go, you don't find out. You don't travel, you don't see the beauty of our continent. The other thing we put it into the festival is inter-Africa trade through exhibition, through conferences, topics that affect our lives. And I can talk about those later, but intentionally focus on trade, especially the SMEs. Because in a lot of cases, when you look at the size of business globally, our businesses compared to the world are still small. So we need to encourage the SMEs because they are the biggest employers. And they are the ones that if they fail, they have to deal with 25% interest rate in the bank and all the other challenges that they have. But if we continue to talk, we'll make the continent a better place.
Okay.
Last but not the least,
Yes.
our children. Back in the 66, 77, a lot of the children were spectators. Yeah, maybe a little bit of kids were part of the participant, but they were more spectators.
Yes.
So we intentionally designed the program to include children in what we do. Number one, we need to keep growing our brain. So we added STEM education to make sure education is a big part of our children. And the three things that we put in for the kids is not only to grow those items, but to also grow confidence and pride in them, because we believe those foundations will help them develop the other sides. The other thing we have in there, in addition to STEM education, is sports. Sport is a builder. Sports bring people together. Sports give people confidence. So it has its value. Last but not the least, we capitalize on our movies and say the kids like the movies. So while they are enjoying the movies, we are talking about Pan-Africanism and self-assurance and how to be better. So that's what the FESTAC of today look like.
Okay. Now, in fact, thank you for all the way you have summarized it, but I've picked three major issues out of them. One is the intercontinental relationship, which could be in business, could be entertainment, could be in tourism, culture and tourism for that matter, which FESTAC represents so fully. And indeed, there's the whole idea of if I want to fly to, now, thank God, there's now a direct flight between Johannesburg and Lagos, and between Lagos and Nairobi. Before then, it was so difficult to get those things. But even now, some of these African countries, you want to get there, you can never even get there directly. You have to fly through other sources and airlines and other countries before you get there directly. Okay, so my question, therefore, is the second one, of course, before I ask my question, is your reference to youths and children. They are they are the engine room of the continental relationship that we're supposed to have. How connected are you to African countries, leaders, and how much effort do you see them adding to your value to make sure that this thing works? Did you get my question on that? Your relationship with African leaders.
I got your question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about the travel ease. I remember, let me just take it back, not even, I'll say 20, 25 years ago. Sometimes I've gone between Lagos and Dakar.
We lost your voice there.
Because...
Sorry, you've gone between Lagos and Dakar. Yes, take it from there.
I say I've gone between Lagos and Dakar before 25 years ago.
Okay.
And it took me 3 days to get there. Because you have to connect either in Accra or in Abidjan. And then if you happen to be delayed and you miss the flight, maybe the flight leaves every 1 day or every 2 days. If you have to go to the places like your Burkina Faso or your Mali, It can even take you longer. I remember one day I had a meeting in Zimbabwe, in Harare. My meeting finished on Friday, and my following meeting was to start in, I think it was in Ghana or Abidjan the following Monday. Some of the people that came to the meeting in Zimbabwe, they left on Friday night. What I did, instead of leaving like them, I went to London from Zimbabwe and came back down to, I think it was Accra or Abidjan.
I experienced that myself.
I got there by Saturday night.
Whoa.
I slept all day Sunday. I was ready for Monday. Some of them got to the other country Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness.
So we had all those problems back then. But I think, as you said, we now have connecting flights. We can still use more. But I think one of the biggest problem with our airline industry is the taxes.
Okay.
A lot of, when you go to Europe, the reason why you are able to see a $20 flight ticket, a $10 or $50, $100 flight ticket, is because of the skies. The skies are open. In our own case, every country between your two locations, there's a tax charged on the ticket.
Who puts the tax?
If we want,
who charges the tax?
Say that again.
Who?
Each country that you fly over, the airline pays a tax
to that country.
To the country, and the tax is pushed to the passenger. So when you look at your ticket price, that's why when you look at the breakdown, sometimes 30 to 40, 50% is actually the cost of your flight.
Wow.
The other side is all taxes. So those things need to be removed. I mean, it's very myopic.
Yes.
Because the money our countries are making from those little taxes, they can make a whole lot more if they allow open skies. Because when you do that, you encourage movement, you encourage trade. So we have a long way to go. And since you open the door of these travel within the continent either, today a few countries will sit back and they tell you we are visa free, we open our door to people. That's baloney.
It is, because
only country that has open.
Yes, go on, please. Sorry.
Say that again.
Now, I was going to say, I mean, it's baloney agreeing with you, because in actual fact, I should be able to. There are more tourists in Africa for Africans than foreigners coming to Africa to do tourism.
Exactly. So when the only country that has visa free today is Rwanda. You can go to Rwanda as long as you can show the hotel you are going to sleep and the money you are going to spend. And that's all anybody needs. If we focus on how to make, nobody wants to move to any other person's country. The focus, I want to be home in my own environment. Yes. So the African passport, there's something that's being touted, one passport Africa. To me is baloney. Because it almost looked like it would never happen. Yes, a few of our leaders have the passports, but they don't need the passport. They don't travel with passports.
They don't even go anywhere.
They need to focus on the people that actually.
Yes.
Exactly. So they have the passport. They show up. They take pictures, but that's nothing. They need to look at how to let people to move. Movement between Nigeria and Benin it could be so difficult. And why is that supposed to be? So that's your answer for that. The first part of your question. The second question is on African leadership.
Yes.
I could say that they could do a better job in supporting what we do. We've written to a lot of countries over the last 3 to 4 years. I can tell you that.
Go ahead, please.
We have not had any of the nation officially respond back to all the requests. Now, maybe the letters are not getting to them, or maybe we don't know who to give the letters to. But we make a lot of efforts. The only thing I'll give a credit to one organization and one individual is Mo Ibrahim of Sudan. Is the only person that we wrote to that they responded to us within a couple of weeks although the response was that the week we are using for FESTAC, because it's the last week of May, it's also a week that they have their own annual program. But just the fact that they even responded. So kudos to Mo Ibrahim for all his work. He's a Pan-Africanist, and he's moving the bars the way he could move the bars. But we need our leaders to step up. If make better the things we need to do that. Okay. Then you ask about the youth.
The youth. That's very.
There are so many ways. It's disheartening because today our children are the one running a lot of businesses globally. Our children are the one in IT. Our children are the one in the music. Our children are the one in the entertainment.
Movies, yes.
Our children are actually shaking the world.
True.
Movies and on and on. Yes. What do we have as a plan, as a continental plan, to support them? Not only rhetoric, not just sending 60 or 100 pages of books and send around. What do we have on the grassroots? What programs do we have for them to really encourage them and support what they are doing? So those are the ways we're going to move the continent forward.
Honestly, I'm going to try and give people a chance to share their opinions based on what you've said so far, and also call for those who are going to telephone us is for Nigeria. Of course, it's 0700 234 if you're calling from other parts of the world, plus 234 700 923 923 923. If you're within Nigeria, it's 0700 923 923 923. And of course, there's also the WhatsApp messages. You want to send us your message, or you want to even send us a voice note, we can play it back. It's 234-817-313-6193. In the meantime, there are people already in the Zoom chambers. I always call them Zoom chambers. I see Marianne, I see Grace Mumo, and I also see somebody's name as Galaxy A14. I'm sure the person will soon put his or her name. And I thought I saw Dolakbo Aino as well. So you're all welcome. Anybody who wants to speak, there's a phone call coming in. Anybody who wants to speak from Zoom, please go ahead and say signify, and I will take our voice. In the meantime, let's take this. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, we lost it. Right. The line is 30700-923-923-923. If you're calling in to Nigeria, plus 234-700-923-923-923. Marianne, can you speak? Okay, some message. Good afternoon, Soni. Since 2014, Republic of Benin has been implementing the policy of visa on arrival. That's about 10 years for Africans, just like Nigeria, Rwanda, and 12 other African countries as well. I travel to West Africa every now and again, and then I come and I can attest to that. Andose from FESTAC Town. Well, Yinka, you know there was a place called FESTAC Town, and it's still very much in existence. Yes. Somebody has just called from FESTAC Town.
Yes.
Andose. So he was saying that there was visa on arrival from Benin Republic.
I'd like to respond to that.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I'd like to say something about that.
Yes, please, go ahead.
To the person that wrote in, thank you very much. So the person said, I traveled to West Africa, which means your passport is good for ECOWAS. The dream is beyond ECOWAS. The dream is continental. It's not about ECOWAS. Yes, if you have a Nigerian passport, you can travel all the way to Senegal. Believe me, if you want to know that your passport doesn't go very far, try to cross from Senegal to Mauritania. Then you realize that passport doesn't go beyond that. So yes, the passport works in West Africa, but it limits what you can do. Because if you need to go the other way to Sudan, Angola, other opportunities, Botswana, South Africa, it doesn't work. So what we are asking for is open border, open skies for all Africans. Yes, put rules behind it. Put minimal monetary expectations there.
Yeah.
Put minimum type of hotel that you want them to stay. But let's allow our people to move around. But that's the only way our continent will get better.
Fantastic. So, can I ask anybody, Grace Mumo? There's another call coming in. I'll go try and take it. Hello? Good afternoon.
Hello,
how are you?
Good afternoon, Uncle Soni Irabor.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. What's your name, please?
My name is Peter Usifo. I'm calling from Abioye in Ikotun.
Okay, Peter Usifo from Ikotun in Lagos area.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Go ahead with your question.
I want to ask your guest a question, but before that, I commend your guest for what he has said so far.
Yinka, you said they commend your effort so far?
In the 90s, there used to be what they call ATPN, Association of Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria. But
yes.
I don't think it used to be a very good association, a great one for that matter.
Association of Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria, ATPN, yeah?
ATPN, yes, Association of Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria.
Okay.
It's related to this FESTAC of 18 we are talking about.
Yes.
Like Festival of Arts and Culture. And that's in Nigeria. Then, I want the question again relating to what I've just said, whether it's still in existence, is that how do we bring the tourism destinations in Africa? How do you make sure that they are highly recognized instead of, Africans going to Europe every time?
Okay. Which is why Yinka Abioye is on this segment. He's going to answer you. Okay? Your question.
So that's my question.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Right. So, Yinka, did you get the question? Yinka?
No, we can't hear the question on our side.
Oh, sorry about that.
The question.
We'll make sure we'll correct that. Well, the question was, how do you make this whole thing African? And I told him that was why you were on this program in the first place. The whole idea of, tourism in Africa. And he talked about the Association of Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria, ATPN. Okay, he said it was in the 90s. And that, as far as he was concerned, was an offshoot of FESTAC 77 those days. So he's now asking, how do you now Africanize this whole concept of, for example, ATPN? And I had already hinted him that this is why you're on this program as Yinka Abioye, the convener of FESTAC Africa. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thanks the caller for their comment.
Yes.
Actually, we want that caller and their organization because the idea is, as I said earlier, the nostalgia of 1977. Our effort, interest is to bring FESTAC Africa into Nigeria in 2027 to celebrate 50 years of 1977. What does that mean? That means we need organizations like that organization to be part of the team when we are putting together the work team into getting Nigeria ready for the program in 2027, so we can optimize and maximize the effort in 2027 in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I think the caller also mentioned about Africa. Yes, a lot of people actually, especially the English-speaking African countries, a lot of them did not even realize that there was FESTAC in 1966 in Senegal because of the barrier of language, because it was French.
Okay.
Not only a hundred people are aware of that. So today, what we are saying is Nigeria enjoyed 1966. Senegal did 66. Nigeria did 77. This is actually our third consecutive year because we don't want the program to die again. So what have we done? 2022 was in Zanzibar. 2023 was in Arusha. 2024 was in Kisumu. And the idea is the more you move it around like that.
Let me stop you a little and let me ask you to explain better. 2022 was where? Arusha.
2022 was in the island of Zanzibar.
Zanzibar, which is part of Tanzania.
Which is part of Tanzania, that's correct.
Okay. Then 2023 was where?
Arusha, Tanzania, which is mainland Tanzania.
Okay, so it's everything. You see, what I'm trying to establish there is that it all happened in one country in 2 years. That's what you're saying. One African country.
Actually, it's good. No. Let me answer that.
Please.
So if you've got something that has actually in hiatus for 45 years, and you're bringing it back, as a matter of fact, when we first revived FESTAC, the idea was to stay in one location for about 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
So we can make mistakes. So we can deal with bringing something back that's been down for 45 years. And I'll say this to you, Sonny, since you mentioned what you said.
Yes.
So 19.
Sorry, somebody is making noise.
Please, in Phoenix, please mute your line in Phoenix.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So 2022, when we brought it back.
Yes.
It was something that was down for 45 years. It was something that came back during COVID, right? So you had all those challenges there. And I was telling my team, when we brought it back in 2022, we actually had less than 900 people that came to the festival. And you can see my team beating themselves up and saying, man, Nigeria had 500,000 in 1977. We only had less than 900 people. And I tell them, I said, you know what? Celebrate what you have. Because this thing was down for 45 years. So it's going to take time for it to build up. So yes, we took it to Zanzibar. And I mean, I don't want to go into why Zanzibar because of the restrictions, lockdowns of 2022 and all those things. Omicron in February and all those challenges. But right after that, go ahead.
Yeah, go on. Right after that, what happened?
Yeah. Okay. So right after that, we were going to do it again in Zanzibar to again grow from there.
Okay.
But some leadership in the country said to us, the country enjoyed the effort so much on the island. Please bring it to the mainland.
Okay.
So that's why we went to Arusha the second year.
So there was
by the second year, we had understood the things. Yeah. By the second year, we had about 2,700 participants.
Okay.
So we had known what we could do better by then. So I guess you can call us that our confidence after the second year is what led to us being able to say we are now ready to the point that 2024 actually had over 8,000 participants. So you can see the development, you can see the growth.
Yes.
I mean, we know we can do it. We can do it now with our eyes closed because we know what we did right. We know what we did wrong. We know where emphasis need to be. We just need the global support of our leaders, our philanthropists, people that want the continent to be better. They could donate, they could support, they could sponsor, they could participate, they could even come to be speakers. If they have a topic that they are passionate about, they are welcome to come and be part of FESTAC going forward.
Well, going forward, let's maybe at the point, maybe when next you speak, because I have a message to read here again. You may need to, establish how they can reach you, either email or WhatsApp, whatever number it is. But in the meantime, Andose has sent another message saying, Soni, I now
let me answer that right away because it's very
okay.
Sorry, it's very simple.
Yes.
They can go to festacafrica.org or they can just email me at Yinka@festacafrica.org. Simple.
Let's do it again. festacafrica.org or email Yinka.
Yes, that's the website.
Yes. Or email Yinka@festacafrica.org. Yeah?
Correct.
Good. All right. So here's a message. Soni, I now completely agree with your guest that moving across other parts of Africa, apart from West Africa, is a Herculean task for the traveler. He said it. Very interesting. Okay, there are more messages. There's somebody from Osborne. Okay, we're going to read that. Good afternoon, Uncle Irabor. Yes, Yinka, I'm an uncle here. Okay, the trade among
I know.
the trade among EU countries is at 61.1%, following the advantage of open sky.
Exactly.
While the trade between African countries is at the abysmal 13.1%. We need to open the
That's
skies.
exactly correct.
Yes, we need to open the skies in Africa and allow free movement among Africans. He just spoke, that's Yinka, just spoke about the youths doing well in Africa, but moving their feet across Africa is consistently hampered by visa and travel difficulties. This is from Osborne. Strong point there. You want to say something to that before?
I like both. So let's talk about the first one first. The one that talked about the Herculean task.
Yes.
Yes, it is a Herculean task, but I think the important thing is that Africa is not only ECOWAS. Africa is not only EAC. Africa is not only SADC. There are certain information we all need to be aware here, right? People sit back today and tell us Africa is overcrowded. That's bullcrap. Africa is not overcrowded, right? Africa is about 1.2, 1.3 billion people.
And
India
there's nothing
is
happening.
1.3.
There's nothing happening in Africa. Upon all its
No, I'm going somewhere with the numbers.
Yes, okay.
1.2 billion India, 1.2 billion China, 350 to 400 million the US. You can take all those geography and fit them into Africa. So if Africa is only 1.2, 1.3 billion, we are not overpopulated. That's number one. Number two, we have all these youth. We have all this brain. We have all the minerals. We have all the arable lands. So we are actually the power of today. When I hear some of our leaders say the word Africa is the future, I tell them, no, Africa is not the future. Africa is now.
Africa is now.
That's why, yes.
Yes. Africa
is now. The whole idea of Africa 2063 is fine. But 2063 to today is what? 40 years from now?
Huge.
I mean, I'll probably be sitting under the tree and drinking coconut juice at that time, God, if one is still around.
With all your white hair.
So the point is to hold ourselves responsible for performance. We need to hold ourselves responsible for what we can, in our own lifetime, account for. So it is critical that was for the person that talking about the Herculean task. Yeah. And I also think one thing, to the person that talked about traveling West Africa is okay.
Osborne, yes.
Sometimes also, if you watch the ticketing pricing, pack your bags and see what other parts of Africa look like. There's a lot of beauty that we are living out there that we are missing. And to the person in Osborne, thank you for the number that you were talking about. I know it's below 15%, but 15 is what we've been talking about forever. And I'm glad the person said 60 plus in Europe.
Yes.
We can do that and more.
Yinka, I'm so glad that you came on this program because I really was asking myself, what would be the focal point in dealing with matters of Africa? And FESTAC Africa just opened my eyes to the reality of the situation. We have a lot of people listening.
Soni,
yes. Go on.
Sorry, I want to add something to that. So,
yes.
And I've had people call me and say, tell us your background. And I tell them, I'm actually a chemical engineer so many years ago. I used to work in design of pharmaceutical, design of oil and gas and all those things. Manufacturing, plastics, solvents, all those things. But traveling the continent, I was talking to someone today, and I'm not going to mention the country. The country is in West Africa. The country does mining.
Okay.
I used to sell lubricants in the mines.
Whoa.
I remember landing in that city, that mining town. And I happen to have a very sensitive respiratory system. I just realized that I wasn't able to breathe very well. I took an handkerchief and I blew my nose less than 10 minutes after I landed. And inside my nose was yellow.
Whoa.
So it tells you there are some people that are living in that town all their lives. The foreigners that are working in that town, every 3 months they go out to do what they call R&R. So
What's
they
that?
go to refresh their bodies.
Okay.
Whereas my people are staying in the dust. So when my people die at the age of 20 or 30, somebody will say somebody in their family is the one doing something to them. Whereas it's the environment, it's the pollution in the environment that we allow to happen that is reducing the average African life. So we have a lot of work to do. Awareness is important. People should come and help us develop. They should come and help us make money from our continent. But while they are here, they shouldn't be just taking the riches out and impoverish our children without jobs. So you talk about what FESTAC comes in. Me being an engineer, I just said, you know what? I've done enough engineering in my life. I can impact the continent better with awareness, with a focus on the youth, with showing all of us, our children, that this is the continent, and also informing our leaders that there are certain things we need to do to make the continent a better place. Hence the effort using platform of arts and culture to bring in. I think, it's and I'm asking you, Soni, I'm telling you now, God preserve your life. Next FESTAC, you are going to be broadcasting from FESTAC. Because
I like
you
that. I
will
would
then
love that.
see,
Yes.
you will then see that we've taken it beyond arts and culture. In the last one, we had women empowerment, gender-based violence awareness, agriculture, blockchain technology, sports, movies. So everything that goes around our lives is talked about. We have like one-day conference within that 1 week. Because the idea is that you come in there, you meet 200 to 300 people of like minds of your life. We just need you to be there to network. Then that's the only way we can propagate development within our people.
This is so instructive. Thank you so much. But I need to ask you more questions. And I will also ask that those who want to call us, please do that. If you're calling from outside Nigeria, it's +234, then 700-923-923-923. If you're calling from within Nigeria, it's just 0700-923-923-923. And yes, of course, the radio station is Inspiration 92.3 FM. And of course, we're on Zoom. Yinka Abioye is actually in Kenya. Where in Kenya are you, by the way?
I'm in Kisumu, Kenya.
Kisulu or Kisumu?
Kisumu.
M-U.
And by the way, the governor of this county is the father of Lupita Nyong'o.
Really? The famous Hollywood actress?
That's correct.
Oh, wow. She's well endowed, so to speak. Yeah, I met her. I had the privilege of meeting her with Chimamanda Adichie when they came to Nigeria a few years ago. I still have a picture of her, Chimamanda, Olu Jacobs, and my humble self. Hey, up me. I don't the big go. Anyway, this is Soni Irabor Live.
The movers and shakers of Africa.
Honestly, this is Soni Irabor Live, and yes, send us more messages and also give us a call. I just gave the numbers. I'll remind you again: 0700-923-923-923, and also 0817-313-6193. And if you're calling from other parts of Nigeria, of the world, of Africa, is +234. Then 700-923-923-923, or +234-817-313-6193. Right. Let me give a chance to those in the Zoom chambers now. I've been seeing names. I would like them to comment, at least from what they've heard so far, or if they have any questions to ask. Could I ask Grace Mumo? I've called you twice before. I hope you can speak to us now. Hello, Grace. Okay. Grace is not responding. Marianne, can you talk? Hello, Marianne. Good. They are not willing.
Hello, yes, I can speak.
Yes. Hello, Marianne. How are you? Please go ahead. Where are you calling from?
I'm good. I'm calling from Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh, wow. Should I say Jambo?
Yes.
Jambo, Abarigani. Hakuna Matata. Yes.
Hakuna Matata indeed.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm part of the FESTAC Africa team.
Good.
And I just wanted to urge everyone to be a part of FESTAC and to support FESTAC Africa Festival because we've done a lot of great things, especially in Kenya with our 2024 event. We boosted tourism in Kisumu County. We benefited the community through a lot of activities, like we did health screenings that really benefited people who needed checkups. We brought important conversations on the table, for example, how to write African stories and to speak about Africa in correct ways. Basically, we are looking to do even more in the coming year. And yeah, I would just urge everyone to support us. Also, please follow us on social media at FESTAC Africa Festival on all platforms. And we look forward to having you guys in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you so much. I really love that.
Marianne, thanks for jogging my memory. So I owe you a bottle of Coke. Let me fill up the back of what Marianne just said. And okay. There's so much that happened during the festival. Number one, we had 3 40-foot mobile clinics, medical mobile clinics in the stadium.
Ooh.
We had 1 for eye care. We had 1 for dental care. We had another one for blood drive from a lot of partners. Now, why am I mentioning those things is because those mobile clinics were there to give free services to people that want to. We had over 500 dental procedures that were done for free by the Kenya Dental Association that came in with a truck for 3 or 4 days to just give services to the community. We had Aga Khan came in with a truck. We had Gertrude. So we to put the energy together to bring in a lot of organizations to use it as a CSR to do better things for the community and society. But there's another part of this I want to mention.
Yes.
I'm talking about the value of the FESTAC Africa of today.
Yes.
FESTAC Africa 2024 was done in the Lake region of Kenya.
Okay.
Lake region consists of 14 counties around Lake Victoria. And you know what Lake Victoria is, you know what it's all about.
Yes.
We've had people that actually did actuary science for us and said, the efforts you put together to promote Kisumu for the whole year as you are leading and preparing into the festival, if the county and the neighboring counties were to calculate what exposure they got, they would probably spend over $25 million.
Wow.
Because with the effort of what we are doing, we have partnership with radio and television stations out of South Africa, out of Nigeria, Punch, out of TV3 out of Ghana. We had a Citizen in Kenya.
Going forward, let me stop you there.
In Kenya.
Let me stop you.
Say that again?
No, let me stop you there. Going forward, if you do not add Inspiration 92.3 FM, going forward, because of the next FESTAC, me and you go fight.
No, we're not going to fight because I've told you, not only that, I will tell the team to include your brand right away, send you guys an MOU, but I don't even think it's about just adding you. I think coming to broadcast from the environment, you will see the power and the value of what is being done. And even I mean, we talk about within the continent and how we need to beg our people to jump. We had almost 100 people from India that came for the festival.
Wow.
We had media houses from India that came. We had BRICS media that came into FESTAC, something we are doing to promote Africa. But I think there's another line I want to put down there.
Yes.
Today, if you Google Kisumu, Kenya, you will see so much positive information about the lake region that is also helps with the outlook and the business investment in the area. When we looked at the MOU signed, we were able to equate almost $15 million of MOU signed between the companies that came for the festival. So not only this is a platform to bring us together culturally, arts, it is also what we need to promote inter-Africa trade and make the continent a better place.
Very good. Thank you very much on that. Just before, we still have about 5 minutes to 6 minutes to go. But there are things I need to say before giving other people a chance to, express their views. You see, judging from what Marian said, and then you're writing on to it, what she said, I want to recount my own experience. I went by Kenyan Airways. I was going to Kampala, Uganda. But I went by Kenya Airways, landed in Nairobi, and then took a local flight, I don't remember the name now, to Entebbe Airport. And then we drove to the hotel I stayed, Kampala. Well, later on, they gave me the chance to drive about 91 miles or 91 kilometers to an offshoot of Lake Victoria. And they told me that was the source of the White Nile, the River Nile. Now, what I saw, a lot of things, including the statue of Mahatma Gandhi, who incidentally is an Indian, was celebrated in Uganda. And it struck me that Africa had so much to offer. Because I saw the Lake Victoria, which was so massive, but you needed to enter a boat to go to the point where there was a link between Victoria and this Nile, and the water was different. But it was such a tourism attraction that I got myself emotional about it. Now that's one. There was another experience, and that had to do with me now leaving leaving Uganda back to Kenya and back to Lagos. And then the experience was the African mentality about us, Nigerians, and other Africans, and the way they looked at us. I'm just looking at you, Yinka. You are the helm of affairs of FESTAC Africa. Now, as an African and as a Nigerian who is based in, or who is currently in Kenya, how would you look at Africans vis-a-vis the way they interact with one another, the way they either emotionally express their views about one another?
Thank you. That's a great question, but you're giving me only 3 minutes to answer that, so that's not fair. That's almost a 1 hour section we need to do on that. No, I'm serious.
Summarize
that's one of the biggest issues on the continent. We have prejudice. We have pessimism about one another. I can tell you one thing. Yes, I was born in Nigeria, and I will tell anyone that tell me about stereotype of a country or people. Majority of the countries in Africa, their crime is actually worse than any crime you can see in Nigeria. But because Nigeria is 20% of the continent and have a lot of people, and I guess Nigerians are not introverts, so that makes the thing enlarged. But if you stay within that, you just have to close your eyes and keep moving. People will move along with us eventually. Okay. The only way to move this continent forward is to not get wrapped up in the people's prejudice. People that has traveled, that are exposed, will not have that opinion. But Soni, I'm asking you, this is a 1 hour discussion because it's one of the biggest issue affecting the success of our continent. Misunderstanding, misinformation, wrong information, where non-Africans are enjoying our continent, but we run away from one another and we are losing out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is where actually the media comes in, but well, that will be another talk for another day. And Yinka, I'm going to invite you again on Soni Irabor Live. No doubt about that. Because I can see the robustness of the conversation that's going to emanate from here going forward. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been on Soni Irabor Live with Yinka Abioye, engineer Yinka Abioye, who decided to allow culture and tourism and other aspects, entertainment, women's rights and gender equality and all of that, to override the emotions that are making us submerge ourselves rather than exhale and become powerful. Well, that will be another day. This is Soni Irabor Live. And Yinka, thank you, sir. God bless you. And for all the people that took part, Dolakbo, I know, Marianne, and there was another lady. It's just gone off. Thank you all for being part of this beautiful, robust conversation called Soni Irabor Live with FESTAC
Recording
Africa.
in progress.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.